Okay, Hongfire.com, this is Michael, reporting on behalf of Hongfire.com, bringing breaking news and urgent news of a very urgent and breaking kind, and drinking beer. While doing so, this news regards an election, or perhaps a war even, being waged between the forces of Dessous and Dagasu. Now, I'm impartial myself, but I feel it my obligation to inform everybody about these these two sides. On the one half, we have Dessous, and that is a force which is being upheld quite righteously and rightfully by the member Robo Bunghole, who's done quite a good deal of service to Hongfire and for Hongfire, helping out and making Hongfire a unique and interesting place. On the other hand, we have a batch of characters who are spearheading a new movement to try and usurp the authority and power of Dessous, and that is the Dagaso movement. Right now, the polls are quite close. It's neck and neck, literally. But, Dagaso is basically, they're a movement of some kind, as I've mentioned, but I wouldn't say, with, all my unbiasedness, that they're a particularly reputable force. I mean, I see them, but I certainly don't see them doing much for Hongfire or helping Hongfire in the long run. Rather, I see them helping themselves to a piece of Hongfire and somewhat kind of manipulating other members biasly, not unbiasedly like myself, but completely biasly toward their vain and self-aggrandizement, self-something. I'm sorry, I can't. The words are kind of slipping my mind at the moment. It's probably because I'm low on fuel and need to refuel myself. But well, the bottom line is really you have to pick a side here. On the one half, we have the good, righteous powers of Dessous who've helped Hongfire, who has helped Hongfire, with Robo Bunghole, become what it is today. And then we have the, I would say underdogs, but Dessous really represents all across the spectrum, from the high end to the underdogs and everything in between and on the other side. Whereas Dagaso is kind of trying to seem as some grassroots movement that is representing all these kind of good things, when it's really not. It's complete rubbish, and I say that with the most unbiased and impartial reporting that I can. Both sides are showing, various factors that seem desirable. Both sides, say for instance, Lolicon is being pushed by both sides. Myself helping out a little bit for, impartially of course, for the Dessous side with that. But as I brought up before, the Dagaso movement involves a sort of squid-like tentacle girl, and I don't know. I really don't feel safe having some kind of tentacle monster in the form of a lowly that's rules over me and my fellow Hongfire members, simply because, as I've mentioned in the topic, how would you feel? Would you feel safe with a lowly? Has the power of tentacles and all this, could possibly rape you, when you've probably masturbated numerous times to various lowly images that involve tentacle monsters, penetrating them. I mean, I wouldn't trust it at all. Impartially, I wouldn't trust it. So with Dessous, on the other hand, not only are you getting you're getting safety. They say, there's that whole fucking saying, don't switch horses midstream. Well, it really it usually doesn't have any truth to it, but in this it really does. The only problem is it doesn't involve forces at all, and we're definitely in the middle or in the midst of quite a chaotic bit of turmoil, and it hasn't been caused by Dessous at all, but the Degasa side, which is kind of, you know, it's damaging to Hongfire, really. It makes me sad. It makes me sad. It makes me mad. But with Dessous, I mean, I don't really know how many good things I have to say impartially and unbiasedly about it. For one thing, if you're a fan of duality, as I am, the concept of one extreme and the other, or, you know, a balance between the two, and so on and so forth, you'll see red and green, two opposing colors in some manner, have become a very important part of this. And I look at that as a sign of great insight and philosophy on behalf of Robo Bunghole and the Dessous movement. Whereas, you know, Degasa is kind of fumbling around with, doesn't uphold anything really, other than selfish gain and such things. Where, you know, clearly on the Dessous side, we have an unbiasedness, we have philosophy, we have security, we have safety, we have sanity and insanity. You know, of course, one thing and the other implied, everything except awesome being implied, its opposite not so much in this instance, but rather awesomeness and epicness, I'd say, are a safe bill with the Dessous party. Well, anyhow, I've discussed this, you know, at length. For now, I'd say LT Soma, a new member, has brought it to my attention that perhaps I should have made a video regarding this epic battle. And because of him, the idea was put in my head, and therefore I have. I love making videos, and I love being impartial, and I love Dessous and all that it implies. Of course, Robo Bunghole, a great person, influential member, and influential in great movements. And I feel that you shouldn't change horses midstream. Of course, the Degasa movement would disagree, and they're entitled to their disagreement, but really, it's Dessous or nothing, impartially and unbiasedly. In this case, if you want Hongfire to continue to be what it is today, and what it's always been, and what it will be, and, you know, well, this video is getting lengthy, so most of you have probably given up unless you're interested enough. So I'll say on my behalf, I'm completely impartial and unbiased, but I guarantee you, your vote for Dessous will be backed impartially by myself, and I'll help get all of you who vote Dessous your fix for any fetish of lowly and otherwise of anything involving alcohol and drugs, material possessions perhaps. I'm capable of helping you out in any way you need, any way you want, and any way you must have, so long as you impartially side yourself with the Dessous movement. Of course, this is Michael Means Business, as always reporting with honesty and an impartial unbias to the Hongfire public for its betterment. And I look forward to further helping out impartial and unbiasedness in favor of Dessous, and helping Hongfire grow in its greatness. Anyhow, over and out, Hongfire. Michael Means Business reporting on behalf of Hongfire and Hongfire News, officially and unofficially, and all that goodness. Sayonara.